Hey, this is Brian Sebastian. You're watching Movie Reviews and More on the Women's Broadcast TV channel. And today's going to be an exciting show. I'm very, very happy that everybody is here. I want to thank my co-host, Zorianna Kit. I want to thank Misty
Tripoli.
Exactly. Introduce yourself.
My name's Kara Moncrief. I'm the clinical director for VIROA, and we manufacture lasers, radio frequency, and cosmetic devices.
Now, you had a chance to take this. You went for the treatment.
Yeah, I did take the treatment. Yeah.
Yes.
What I loved about it was that, I mean, first of all, it took minutes. Like, it was just something you can do on your lunch break. You come in and 15 minutes, it's done. And there's zero downtime. In fact, I was like, did they do something different things? Because there's no redness, nothing. And then you reap the benefits as you go on. So,
what did you have done?
The face thing. I don't know what's the term. Yeah, exactly. So the face thingy.
We do radio frequency, laser, and intense pulse light on the
I
face.
think I did radio frequency.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So lifting, that's collagen and tightening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it a
No
lot.
downtime, no pain either.
No, and everyone was so nice.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was a great experience. There's no negative aspects about it whatsoever. Yeah, so thank you.
And Misty's saying, where's mine? I see a smile on her face.
It's like, wait a minute, what is all this about?
Tell me more.
I'm coming into a whole new world here. Didn't know any of this stuff existed.
Talk about how you got into this, because the last time we saw you, it sticks in my mind, you love watching the movies. You were on the road for 250 days at one point.
At one point,
said,
yes.
And I've never gotten that out of my mind.
Me either.
Where are you these days right now, since it's a new year?
So where am I at now?
Mm-hmm.
Still traveling, still doing, so what I do is clinical training. So when a doctor purchases the device, I fly in and I train the accounts on how to use it properly. And so yeah, I just got back from Dallas and Houston and now here with you. And
Are you always the guinea pig? Like, oh, you can use my
I
face.
wish, no. It's always their staff. Of course they're dying for training, so
Yeah.
they can start getting treatments done, but no. Yeah, I have a device at home though, so.
What?
Yes.
You do it to yourself.
Oh my god.
Did you see her face? I mean, what's this device?
I know, it's like, there's not a wrinkle on her face.
Very
I'm tripping. It's perfect.
Well, I mean, we remove, and I've done a lot to myself, but we remove sunspots and target collagen, elastin, so for lifting, target the water in the skin, so overall skin rejuvenation, so it helps shrink pores. That also helps with fine lines and wrinkles. And then we do body as well, so we do contouring and cellulite. Over 86% of women have cellulite, doesn't matter how thin or fit they are.
Because we're supposed to.
Because we're supposed to, but we can help with that if that is a problem area. Varicose veins.
Those never go away, varicose veins. There's always a new one somewhere.
Yeah, they'll
talk about that too. Yeah. You won't be catching me wearing any mini skirts. I'm just, those just one will pop specifically for a mini skirt.
That started growing up.
But here's the thing, men are conscious of those things too.
Absolutely.
I mean,
On women or on themselves?
no, on themselves.
More and more now.
No, I accept women as they are. This is what it's all about, right? No, I think that's really, really important.
You have varicose veins and cellulite, Brian?
No, not yet. I hope I don't get it, but
You will never get that.
well, I'm speaking for us white men and us black men, I hope. They get them. So what do they do about that? Because you said a lot of men, this is for men too, right?
It is, and that industry is growing tremendously. So I think more so for the males, what we're seeing is contouring, hair removal, so back hair removal, or even when they get ingrown hairs on the neck, so hair removal here, but also getting into the face stuff, so removing brown spots, removing vascular that they have a lot of times on their face and their nose, but also collagen. So with radio frequency, what you had done, men are, and I hate to say this because you're sitting right next to me, but they can be babies when it comes to this kind of stuff, when they get sick.
I'm going to do my best not to be a baby.
So with them, it's great because there is no pain with it. and there's no
Yeah.
downtime. So,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of men wouldn't want to admit that they're having something done, and no one would ever know because it's just a little bit of redness that's gone within
Well,
about
I've
30
got
minutes.
bags
So,
underneath my eyes. I want to get rid of this.
exactly. So it treats that as well. So,
When do you
and
use-
without going under the knife too. So radiotherapy
Yes.
will help with like craziness. And
What about
those
younger kids, like teenagers with acne? Is
That
that,
as
do you have to
well.
wait a certain age before they can be exposed to those treatments? Or?
Not necessarily, and I think that's more so up to the operating physician and getting a consent from the parent and how young they do want to treat. But we use blue light in specific to treat acne, and it just targets the acne bacteria. So again, there's no downtime with it, so
Yeah.
kids can go to school. You know, it's not something that they're going to have downtime from. So yeah. Pretty young.
And there's salons here in Los Angeles that
We do. We have doctors here that absolutely
went.
have it.
So it's
Yeah,
physicians.
She went into
Yeah.
it's physicians. Yep. Yeah,
so it's actually
physicians.
administered only by a physician,
Yes.
not by estheticians.
Well,
or-
it
no,
depends
could
on the
be.
state. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some states they are using estheticians, some nurses.
Just
but
like
a lot of the
with
doctors
Botox
like to do
and
it as
stuff.
well. Sometimes. Yep.
Like, you know, Botox can be done by a plastic surgeon or a doctor or a RN.
Or a nurse a lot of times.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
And
you're
they
like,
pair-
I've
they
never
pair
done
well.
that.
I have, this is I don't even know anything about it. This is a whole new world. Yes.
Well, the funny thing about you is I know most of your world, but it's interesting where you came from. And coming in, what, the last couple of days, you came from Mexico, right?
Yeah,
What were
Talk
you doing
about
in
that.
Mexico?
I live there.
And in Costa Rica, apparently, for 3 months out of the year.
Well, I'm kind of like, what I've done is I've learned to chase the best weather. And so I now, my
yeah.
home is in Mexico, and now I'm creating homes all around the world where I want to live, and I'll live there.
Where in Mexico?
Playa del Carmen.
Nice.
It is quite nice.
Yes.
It's super heaven. Yeah, so this isn't even like a conversation I have when I'm there, so it's really
Do
interesting.
you speak Spanish?
Enough to get by.
Yeah.
Suficiente.
So Costa Rica and Mexico, you can pass by.
Oh yeah, I can get by. I can't have an intellectual conversation,
Yeah.
you know, and really express my deepest emotions, but I can operate my life.
Yeah, nice.
So what happens when the guys come up to you and want to seduce you or whatever?
Go for it. Bring it on. Because love, you don't really need,
Intellectual conversation.
well, you do if you want it to grow. But
Not in the beginning.
But not in the beginning, yeah. But it's really interesting because where I live, you don't really even need to speak Spanish.
Oh.
you don't
like
even need to
almost-
speak, Brad.
You really don't. You just walk around. But because most of the people there speak English, because even the locals speak English because of the tourism population. So most everyone I meet actually speaks English. So it's kind of nice for me, but I'm lazy, so I don't get to learn that much. So.
You are not lazy. Talk about where you came from, first of all. You are not lazy.
Well, no, I'm not lazy. I mean, I lived here in Los Angeles for 15 years, and I was in the fitness world and really knee deep into the fitness.
What did you do?
I was the director of a chain of health clubs here, from all the way down to San Diego. There's like 5 or 6 clubs. I managed about 500 instructors. I developed programs. I was training NBA and NFL players. I was training elite fitness athletes and stuff like that. And I was also an instructor. I taught 20 classes a week. I was a Nike elite athlete and stuff like that. So I was in it. And then, like I said, 7.5 years ago, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Is it like burnout? Because I would think like, wow, like you must be super healthy and super fit that you don't even want to get out of that world.
I love that you said that. And that's the illusion of all of it, is that the fitness industry is the most unhealthy industry you can imagine.
How's that?
Because it psychologically messes with you, and
In what way?
you're never good enough, your body's never okay. What they do to promote no pain, no gain, they want you to pummel your body to death. It's not about loving yourself and being well from the inside and learning to find a peaceful, loving inner world that actually creates a healthy outer world. It's all aesthetics. It's all about what you look like, and that's all that matters. And when you're in it and you see it, it is really detrimental, especially to the soul of a woman. You're never good enough. Your body's never going to be good enough. It's so you look at it and you're like, oh, the fitness, you must be so fit. No,
Yeah.
these people are messed in the head, and I was too, and I was in it, and I was perpetuating it. And it's all what you look like. There's no wellness. There's no real health. It's let's see what we can do to make that body look the way you want it to look. And it has nothing to do.
And that doesn't mean you work on mental, which is
No, you don't work on mental, spiritual, emotional, all of the things that actually encompass you as a whole human being. It's just, what does your body look like? because that's your value on this planet. And that's what the fitness world perpetuates, and that's why I'm like, I'm out. I want to create something that actually perpetuates inner wellness and inner peace, so that the outer shell is a reflection of the inner shell, or the inner world, and to also realize that, you know, we're in a meat suit that has an expiration date.
Yeah.
And that's just reality, that's the truth of it, and we are so at war with our own aging process, which is where you guys come in and do this, and I understand it, and you know, like I even look at my own face sometimes and be like, wow, I can really see the wrinkles, and I really have to face that and go, that those years of youth and beauty are over, and now it's time that I've got to accept this next phase of my life, and I can counterbalance it and do things that help, you know.
Right, and I think that's why we blew up in the industry too, is that do people really want to go under the knife and completely change the way they look? Yeah. So small things that you're doing in a package, like there's no downtime. So it's gradual, and it's a gradual collagen building, but it's working with your own skin, your own natural skin. So it's not a cut and slice and dice and completely change who you are, right? Or chemicals. It's none of that, and it's just keeping your own beauty, but just having that healthier skin and confidence back if a teenage kid has acne, something like that.
Yeah, and help them out with that. Absolutely. So I believe that it's your meat suit, you can do whatever you want with it. You own it, it's the only thing you can actually do whatever you want with it. You know, like whatever it is that you want to do with it. But it really, like, beauty really, and we say it all the time and we hear it, but beauty really is an essence. And it's someone that embodies who they are and is okay with who they are. And
so what did you do? Like, where do you go from that world then? You'd have to do a total 180, right?
I did. It was a very massive transformation in my life. I was living here. I was bulimic. I was bulimic for 16 years, almost killed myself. And I was a fitness professional at the same time, teaching 20 classes. I was a Nike athlete, all of these things, but I was killing myself on a daily basis. I was obsessed with food and calories and how I was going to get rid of it and what I was looking like. And then quite literally, one day, I had a very spiritual, powerful, complete 180 literally in one day. And I didn't know who I was. I couldn't leave my house for 2 weeks. I realized I'd been lied to since the moment I was born. I realized I believed everything I'd been taught, and I bought into the bullshit like everybody else does, and I was just trying to be pretty like everybody else.
And especially in LA.
And I was in the mecca of it.
Yeah.
You know, you're in the pit of it, the garbage dump of it, all of it, and never felt good enough. And in one day I realized I was not born to hate myself. I was not born to not love this body. I wasn't born to obsess about calories, and I was wasting my life trying to be pretty. And that I needed to step into my true power, and that's everything changed. I quit my job. I was like, I can't even look at this industry anymore. Like, it has destroyed my inner world, and started to meditate. And literally, I would sit in meditation for 4 and 5 hours a day. I couldn't move, and truth just would pour over me, like. And I was told what I needed to do in the world, and this is what I do now. I created a concept called the Groove Method, and I teach people how to tune into their bodies through dance and movement. Help them accept and love the body that they're in, and not just love it, but feel delicious in it.
Yeah.
Like, feel good in it.
So it still encompasses fitness, but in a way where you're living and feeling, you're loving the skin you're in, kind of thing.
It's about an authenticity. It's about be your authentic self. Move your body in a way that feels good. Who cares what it looks like? Nobody cares what it looks like. And once you realize that no one actually is looking at you, and you're like, really nobody cares at all.
Because they're too busy caring about themselves.
Exactly. How many followers? What have I got? And really, nobody cares. No one's looking, but we lose so much of our precious life.
That. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Other than you.
Exactly. But we are so obsessed with what other people think that we literally contort and twist and put chemicals, and we just do the craziest things to ourselves because we really do think that someone actually cares. And then we die.
You've also been traveling all over.
And what's it all about, really? No, I do. I've taught this all around the world. I've got facilitators that teach my concept in over 20 countries.
Wow.
I've looped the globe 10, 15 times teaching
You're
this.
like the Subway franchise of wellness.
Exactly. Well, of just dance, like fun, just dance your heart out kind of dance parties, just to get people together of like mind that just want to feel good.
I want to try it. When do you do
I'm doing
that?
it this Friday in Santa Monica. I have a free class. It's a social, and I do socials because I want people to meet each other and we build a community.
See, I like that. Well, I'm coming anyhow, so.
And how old are what's the age range?
I think so.
We groove every age. We have programs for little kids. We go into schools and we teach them these concepts. And it's based off these 5 truths. It's dance. It's a dance experience, but it's 5 truths. The one is no one cares what you look like. And if they do, it's their problem. And you're just going to have to deal with that your whole life. So just stop caring what anyone thinks. It's none of your business. 2, you are unique. You should absolutely look and move differently than anyone else. That's a truth. That your way is the right way. However you choose to do it is the perfect right way. Own it. The 4th one is no one's going to do it for you. No one's going to get healthy for you. No one's going to get happy for you. No one's going to dance for you. You better learn to stand on your own 2 feet and take responsibility for yourself. And the 5th one is those 4 things are just good ideas until you apply it. And the Groove Dance Floor is a place for you to apply that real time and start flexing that muscle of authenticity, creativity.
So when you're so deeply ingrained in a world like that you were in before, do you really ever, like, is there always a little thread that's still kind of hanging in there, like, I do need to sculpt my body, or I do, or is it possible to truly break free and not have any residual insecurities that stem from that world in the current world?
That's an amazing question, and you nailed it. I don't think, as long as you live in this society and you live in this dimension of Hollywood and magazines and TV and social media, and we all live in it, we're not free of it, you have to battle it every single day. And I realize that I have to battle it every single day. But what I've done, and this is how I help people, is developing practices that bring you back to the truth. So that every day I have to remind myself of the truth. It never goes away. It never goes away. Like, I'm just telling them that I can go to Mexico and I'm in blissed out land. I don't care. Everything's fine. It just doesn't matter. I let everything hang out. And I come to LA, and within 3 days I start feeling bad about myself again. I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I'm not pretty enough. My body's not perfect enough. And I start to feel that, and I have to go, whoa, I need to go back to my practices. I need to spend that time every day to sit in silence and just breathe.
It's also not easy to do that too. It's I've always told people, this is the hardest place to make it in the world. There's other regions and countries where you grow up and it's tough. But once you get here, like you're talking about, it is tough.
It doesn't matter who you are. You can be tough as nails, and I haven't yet seen anyone that's really free of it. Truly free of it.
It's very unforgiving, really.
It is. So you have to just tell yourself the truth, and you have to be a warrior for yourself and a warrior for your life and your happiness. And you'll never be happy if you don't feel like you're good enough, or if you're pretty enough, or you'll never truly experience happiness. And I know that we're here to be happy, and we're here to enjoy this place. We're not here to obsess our face, and we're just not, that's not what we're here for. Like, I know that's what we're not here for, right? Like, you and your mission and what you're doing, like, you're here for something greater, and it has nothing to do with it, and you're beautiful in it, but it has nothing to do with being beautiful. It's about a purpose.
But I think that for me, when it feels like when you start turning the focus on you in a way that you know is unhealthy, to me the best thing to do is to be of service, because then that gets you out of it. So to have a day job where you're basically working with other people to save the planet, which is an awesome responsibility, and talk about never feeling like you've done enough at the end
or
of
can you ever do it?
So I'm always out of my head, because I'm in the ocean's head, in nature's head, in there trying to figure out how to work that, and that really makes you not think about what you're wearing, what you're doing, what you look like, how much you weigh, and I find that now that has become part of my life and is now a lifestyle for me, I often find that if my day is tough for whatever reason that has nothing to do with my job, just going to visit an animal shelter and bringing treats and like giving every dog behind those bars a little milk bone or something, that gets me out of my head. So if I'm at my lowest because something's going on personally, just a trip to the dog shelter and giving them stuff, I'm fine. I'm totally okay after that. Because it's just about getting out of your head, just getting out of there and being of service. Being of service, volunteering at a shelter. Because how bad you think your life is, there's always people who have it worse, and we don't think that because we're so conditioned to focus on ourselves, and that you know, look at me, poor me, I'm the victim, look at my life, look how bad it is. I've gained 3 pounds over the Christmas holidays and I'm no longer a 0, I'm a 2, God forbid.
Yeah.
So just going up there and being of service is, like, to me, that's the cure to getting out of your head.
Oh, completely.
And talking of being of service, talk about Sea Shepherd, because that's a perfect segue into that, obviously.
Yeah, you know, Sea Shepherd has been an amazing thing for me in my life, and just I never knew that there was so much satisfaction that you can get from a job. To work at an organization whose motto is to defend, conserve, and protect the world's oceans is an honor, and it comes with a lot of responsibility. So everything that we do is for the greater good ultimately, because if the oceans die, we die. We talked about shark finning earlier. Sharks are an apex predator. If they're gone and they're at the top of the food chain, everything else falls apart. So that means then the oceans fall apart, which then means we as humans fall apart. And so the chain effect of everything that we do really comes down to, like, we're here to save everyone. So if you're going to start fretting about what size you are or what clothes you're going to wear, if the oceans die, we die, and you won't even be worried.
There's a much bigger problem going on. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. So we take care of the much bigger problem, and we have some amazing partners. We have amazing donors who have ships named after them, like the Bob Barker, the John Paul DeJoria, and the Bridget Bardot, the Steve Irwin. Those people have donated a lot of money, or their foundations have, if in Steve Irwin's case, in Sam Simon, they passed away. And we depend on them, and we depend on donors. Like, every bit counts, because we are an NGO, and we are not funded by any government organization, and we go where governments can't or won't, or we partner with governments because they might not have all the resources or the staff to police an area that's essentially lawless.
Yeah.
And so we are like a private navy. Neptune's Navy is what we call ourselves, and we go in there and we work with them, and we work to end all the raping and pillaging that's happening in our oceans today.
Amen.
You know, the good thing about that also was going to Santa Barbara Film Festival and seeing Chasing Thunder, because you would always talk about, you know, volunteers and things like that, but I actually got a chance to see that movie, and it's very, very good. I came up with a rating system years ago called the 4 E's. You know, any good movie, TV show, CD, book, it's got to have the 4 E's. It's got to be entertaining, it's got to be engaging, exciting to watch, emotional and empathetic. And Chasing Thunder has all of that. I didn't even know it was there until you told me it was there, and it was an honor to, you know, to see, you know, Captain Paul Watson there, because I didn't expect that to happen. But it was interesting, and the theater goers, the movie goers loved that, and it was good to see that. And that's the one good thing I liked about Santa Barbara Film Festival. The community comes out to see films. They really support that, and I like that, and they came out to see that film, and it was really nice to see that. But it was really good to see the ships you were just talking about, and the volunteers on that, because you don't see that.
Yes, our ships are run by volunteers. We have captains and engineers, but everyone else is there for no pay. They're volunteers, and our captain always says, you know, you can't pay real people to do those jobs, because they'll be like, union says I need a break. But, you know, when you're there to save the oceans, you can't take a break. You know, when there are poachers in there, you can't be like, I'll deal with him in an hour.
I gotta take my break.
Yeah, exactly. So the volunteers are there because they want to be there, because they care about the oceans, because they want to make a difference. So they have the drive. You know, you can always teach them little things here and there about boats and things like that, but you can't teach passion and drive. That has to be innate. So we love our volunteers, because without them, there's no one on those ships doing the work.
Website.
SeaShepherd.org, and you can click the donate button, and you can donate in any capacity that you want, whether it's just $5 or do a recurring monthly donation, or go to our e-store and buy a cool Sea Shepherd shirt, which funds our organization. every bit counts. Or be a volunteer. You can be a volunteer on one of the ships, fill out a crew application, or join the local chapter of Sea Shepherd. We have like so many chapters around the world, so wherever you live, there's like, we have a Sea Shepherd Costa Rica, we have a Sea Shepherd Mexico.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, you can get involved.
Misty, website.
Website, there's a couple of them. The first one, if you want to experience this dance thing that I created in the comfort of your own home, you can go to bodygroove.com/Misty. Or if you want to learn more about the movement that I've created around the world, it's called the worldgroovemovement.com, and that's where you can find local classes, and so you can join a community in your local area and dance with really cool people.
Are your 5 principles written somewhere on the site?
Yeah, on the World Groove Movement. It's the core fundamental of what we teach, especially to young kids. It's really awesome.
All right.
It is VIORAMed.com, VIORAMED, and we have a physician's locator, so wherever you live, you can just click and see which doctor is closest to you.
And the good thing about all this is, to me, is that single male. It shows just the empowerment and how strong you women are, and I like seeing it. I don't even want to say anything because it's good to see and hear the voices of everybody coming out. I think that's great. Talk about why you were talking about why you started this for young girls.
Well, just because I realized when I was young I didn't have any, and I wasn't taught basic fundamental human skills. I wasn't taught how to manage my emotions. I wasn't taught about what my body actually was, and you know, I just was surrounded by women that hated their bodies. And when I travel around, I see that this is epidemic in girls the moment from so little, and boys now too, unfortunately, but because they're being affected by it. But young girls from very, you know, they start worrying about what they look like at such a young age, and that becomes obsessive, and it steals their life. And if you've got people that can give them simple truth and simple fundamental skills on how to manage what comes, whether they feel bad about themselves and what that means, and that you're not alone, and fun, playful ways to actually get connected to your truth and who you really are, to serve, you know, whatever it is. We're not taught these things in school. We're just not. And my next phase is I'm developing a teen workshop that'll be online for teen girls. And it'll be something completely free that we'll give away for mothers to give to their daughters.
But don't you think that some of this is, like, some of the knowledge comes from age and experience as well?
Oh, totally.
So it's like, you know, it is important. I have 2 daughters, 10 and 14, which is why I was asking you about teens and the age limits of the dance classes. But I just know for myself that it took me a lot of life experience. It took me having kids and being a mother to realize that some of those things don't matter. It's a journey to come to those conclusions on your own.
Right, and that's the joy of getting older, is that you can gain some wisdom because of the experience.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I meet lots of mothers that are terrified for their kids because they're like, she's repeating what I do.
Yeah.
And they still don't get it.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, some people still don't make it past, because this is our final frontier. Your body is your house. It is your temple. You know, and we have to confront it every day. How do we feed it? How do we feel? How do we take care of it? And when you're not given fundamental basic information that can really help you. I've met people that they're like, my mom loved her body and I never had body issues. I saw my mom like own her body, and I never dealt with it. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't see that very often, but it really is. They're going to repeat the patterns of their mother, right? If their mother doesn't like her body, you think the kids are going to like they're just going to repeat it. They're going to, and that's unfortunate. So for me, if I can create any kind of tools or resources for people it's like that serving. It's like, I know that's where I'm supposed to serve.
Yeah.
I'm here to serve the greater good of the psychological being of it, you know, whether it doesn't matter what age, because with Groove, like you said, what's the age limit? We do it with everybody, and we have family grooves where you bring your kids and you all dance together, and you just break that gap and just get people connected to their truth, a higher part of themselves, and not the external, the internal.
I think every individual has something in them that they're good at, that they can be of service. And I think once you find what that is for you, then you're on the right path.
Totally.
Like you're just going, because then you're not searching anymore. You're you're being led to behave a certain way by that greater good. I know it sounds really metaphysical and really silly, but like something else kind of takes over, and you're led to your purpose as opposed to trying to figure out what it is.
Is this it? Is this
exactly.
it? I firmly believe that if you want to discover your purpose, it's not looking for it. It's just tuning in and going, what makes me happy? What brings me joy? It could be something as small as, you know, walking in the park. That might be something that could actually turn into something more, and to fill your life with the things that bring you joy, of whatever of service, and eventually it will be of something of service.
Yeah.
Because when you ultimately ask anyone, I just want to help people. I just want to, you know, do something for. I want to do this, and it ultimately is to help someone. Like I wanted to dance, but at the end of the day, I wanted to help people. I want to help people connect. I want to help people feel good about their lives so that they are more effective in the world.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
More empowered. If you're not worried about all the stupid stuff that doesn't matter, you're a more effective human being.
Yeah.
You're more empowered, and your purpose will show you. Your purpose will just show up.
Well, I would just like to save the world's oceans with clear skin. And, you know,
Flawless complexion.
Less cellulite as I combat the world. Isn't that what we all want? To save the world and look good doing it? Totally negated this entire half hour just now.
Totally. Well, the thing is that ultimately we really do as much, and this is what I find true about it. It's not an obsession. It's like now, like I love to do my hair, I love to dress, but I do it now for a completely different reason.
Yeah.
It's like
you're more free now.
Yeah.
Totally, and I do it because I get to express myself, and I love to be pretty, and I love to adorn myself. Yes, instead of
it's you
is this
being
okay?
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's a totally different place.
Yes.
Well, talking about being pretty, how do you get more men to go see VIROA?
It started with maybe them joining their wife or saying, my God, you look really good, because a lot of wives will hide it from their husbands because they just, the husbands are like, no.
They need to think we're naturally this way.
Yes, and they're like, yeah, you're looking good, and that starts a conversation, or that they come into the office. And a lot of them are now just, you know, there's younger men coming into the workplace, and then they're kind of looking like, oh, I need to get, you know, maybe just a little bit under my eyes, or maybe I have this excess skin on my lids. They don't want to have surgery because, you know, especially with men, when you have surgery, it completely changes the look. So they want to still look natural. And yeah, that opened the door of the natural way of doing things, and that they still look like themselves, and they're wanting to get that done for themselves.
The last time she was here, Zorianna, you were talking to her about I, Tanya. Give us a take on I, Tanya.
I watched it. I really enjoyed it. I kept thinking, I was texting my girlfriends like, oh, we need to go see this. I'm like, why are you so obsessed with this movie? It's been on my mind since the radio show. But yeah, we really enjoyed it.
And it's so topical now with the Olympics, because I've been watching the ice skating that's happening, and how the American did the first triple axel at the Olympics, and she won. And then today, speaking of eating disorders and men, there was an article with one of the in the New York Times with one of the male figure skaters who was saying how he spent years in the skating world being bulimic because he was so competitive. He kept saying, you know, all these men, they're thinner than me, they're more agile, they can do the jumps better, and he for years had an eating disorder and suffered silently because he was striving for that perfection in the skating world, and it's not something that men ever talk about.
No, and it's actually becoming more and more of an issue because men now are being subjected to the same kind of criteria that women are. They have to have those perfect bodies and the six-pack abs, and they have to have the perfect flawless skin. They have to. And it really boils down to that we're obsessed with aesthetics. We're obsessed with the external. We're obsessed with what we look like, and it's not our fault. It really isn't. We're conditioned to it. Yeah. But we can wake up to it, and we can...
Well, just look at the Olympics and how much it is about the outfits, where it wasn't. Like, you look at even the skating announcers. 10 years ago, they all would have worn their North Face jackets and, you know, hats to stay warm. Well, now you have, you know, couture gowns by the judges who are all...
Are you serious?
Yeah, the announcers are all wearing, like... Yeah, Johnny Weir has a different outfit. I mean, he looks fabulous, granted, but now we're looking forward to see what our skating commentaries, Oksana Bayul, what they're all going to be wearing, and they're wearing designer, sparkling, amazing gear, rather than just like a jacket to stay warm. So it has become about that, and so therefore even the skating outfits themselves by the competitors are just, you know, amazing. Whereas before it was just like a
Functional.
like a leotard, like a, you know, tutu essentially. But now it's, yeah, everything.
Humans
different.
tend to take it just as far as they can.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's why you have your job.
Yes, exactly. And that's why you have yours. And that's how
why
we
you have
compliment.
yours. We all
I'll
have
save the oceans to make sure that there's space for you to save the brains.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But you're not dancing. You get a chance to go catch any movies at all?
No. I don't watch television. I don't watch movies. If I do watch a movie, it's because I'm on a 14-hour flight and I've got to fill the space. But I chose 15 years ago. I got rid of my television and I realized all it brought me made me feel bad about myself.
Oh, yeah.
Even just watching the news or even all of it just really made me feel bad. So if I watch movies on a plane, I try to watch comedies, anything that will make me laugh. But violence really disturbs me, and that it's
Well, you had a spiritual overtake. I get it. Where you just cut out everything. That makes sense. A lot of people did do that.
Yeah, and you kind of have
here's
to
the
build
other
a
thing.
fortress around you.
The other thing about that is, so with movies like, shows like Step Up or Dance-a-thon or whatever the case may be, you got to be happy about seeing those or hearing about those at least.
Dance moms.
Well, I haven't seen any of them.
Right.
But I've heard, and I just think it's awesome. But what I do love about movies is that it's a platform for artists to thrive. And I really, I honor that, and I think it's fantastic. So, but I didn't watch the dance movies because I'd feel bad that I wasn't a good enough dancer. I wasn't that good. So it's really interesting. I couldn't even watch So You Think You Can Dance. Because I would always feel bad about myself. Well, you're not if you're not a dancer. But when you're a dancer, you compare yourself and you're like, I'll never be that good, instead of wow. And so I just chose that. I knew for me it was best that I just honor where I'm at and what I do, and I wasn't strong enough at that time. And so, but then I just stopped watching it. Since I never watch it, there was no need to actually start watching it. So I like to watch, documentaries and stuff like that. I'd really like to learn. I like to.
Then you're like Chasing Thunder then.
No, that's what I mean. If someone recommends
it.
Is that a documentary about what you're doing?
It's about one of our campaigns. It was our longest 110-day chase.
Oh, so I would love this.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah.
In lawless land.
Yeah, if it's a true story,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
What have you seen lately? Anything?
What have I seen
I know you've
lately?
been busy.
There is a screening of Black Panther tonight, which
yeah.
I'm debating whether or not I can make it in time from here. But I do want to see that. I want to see that. I mean, I'm a little sick of all the Marvel movies. Feels like every month there's a new Marvel movie, and I can't keep up with the universe anymore. But, Black Panther, it's getting great reviews. So in this case, I'll follow the herd and check it out and see what it's about.
Well, you know what I saw Sunday? I saw Iron Man Sunday.
Oh, you did? The first one?
Oh, I went back to see the first one as I was watching The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh my God.
At the same time. And then I was listening for your voice, so I heard your voice, which I thought was interesting. And I rewound it back because it was, what was it? It was on Netflix or something like that. I'm like, well, this is interesting. Who would have known?
Yeah, I played myself in that first Iron Man.
You
Zorianna, the newscaster. Yeah.
Oh, you were in that movie?
Iron Man was one of my favorites. Oh, I'll have to watch it.
Now I'll have to see it.
Yeah.
See, now you got a new movie to watch, huh?
I watched Iron Man a lot.
I know, but
rewatch
it was before any of those Marvel movies came out, so there was no hype, there was no, Robert Downey Jr. wasn't a big star, he hadn't proven himself yet with the Iron Man comeback film, so it was shot in LA, which after that, no Marvel film was ever shot in LA. They got tax breaks in every other state, so it was just, no one had expectations of this film, so,
Who would have known?
I went to the set, did my little lines, and went home, and it was fun. But yeah, it changed a lot for Marvel in and of itself too. Yeah.
Are you in the beginning and middle?
What happened was they shot a scene of him arriving at Disney Hall for an event, but then they realized that in the script he had gone into hiding. So it didn't make any sense, so they needed a bridge scene that would explain why he would show up. So they decided to have a journalist at the event talking about whether or not Tony Stark might show. he's been behaving weird, he could be in hiding, but there's a lot of people here, so no one knows if he will show. So that sort of debate then makes the character go, you know what, I'm gonna get in my car, I'm gonna go. So then that they were able to solve that. And so basically they called me because I was working in television journalism, and they said, can you do this? And I said, sure. And they were like, we haven't, it'll be tomorrow, can you do it? Yeah, no problem. We haven't written what you're gonna say yet, so just give us a moment to figure that out, and then we'll email it to you when it's ready. Yeah, so then I came down to the set, and you know, I was just, you know, all naive and thinking like, no problem. But then you get there and you're like, oh my God, this entire setup is for me. Fake red carpet, extras in tuxedos and ball gowns, lights, and you're like, I'm the only one speaking here. Like, if I mess up and have to do this 25, 50 times, like, that's millions of dollars. Like, all of a sudden, pressure. Because before I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. But then, you know, talk about mindset. I'm like, yes, I'm a journalist. This is what I do for a living. These are the kind of reports I do. So just, even though it's a fake setting, just, you know, do it. So, yeah, be you. Yeah. But of course, once they said action, I opened my mouth and like my mind went totally blank. Like just blank. And then a light bulb exploded. And you know what? It's the equivalent of like breaking a glass to like break the ice, because after that light bulb exploded and it wasn't my fault. Like, I opened my mouth and I didn't speak. But yeah, maybe I was speaking at such a high pitch that the light bulb exploded. So then they had to say cut, start over, and then everyone started over, and then that was it. I did it. It wasn't an issue, but it was just that first initial thing. I needed that light bulb to break so that I could, do it. Yeah.
Reset.
Yeah, totally. I needed to reset. Yeah, but it was fun. It was great.
So, what movie are you gonna recommend for her?
Yes, I'm obsessed with movies. It's terrible, but it's travel.
You do. You gotta. It's when you catch up.
I was downloading a movie for the plane already today, but yeah, recommend it all you want. I love movies. Yeah.
Well, she was happy with I, Tonya, so that's a good thing. So your track record is good so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the Oscars are coming up. There's you know, I can't say I'm excited about too many of the films, but for me personally, I like the Florida Project, and because that had a very real feel. It's about the projects in Florida of where people are living out of motels, and they're broken homes, a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol. Kids are left unsupervised, and they're all living in this motel that's run by a manager played by Willem Dafoe. And it's very much a slice of life type of a film. There's nothing slick about it. And the irony is that this motel is like right next to Disneyland. So it's like everyone's going to this fantastical, happiest place on earth, but you've got these motels that are just housing like the dregs of the world who
right
are just,
outside the gates.
Yeah, like the mother was prostituting herself. The kids isn't going to school. Kids are left to their own devices. They're burning down buildings. It's a bit of a mess. It's a bit of a mess. But that's reality. I mean, that exists. And they cast actors who've never acted before, other than like Willem Dafoe. Everyone's a newcomer, and they did a great job. It was brilliantly done. And Willem Dafoe's nominated for Best Supporting Actor for
and
this
deserves
film.
it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
So Florida Project, definitely check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you a big, huge Netflix fan when you're doing stuff too?
I am.
Because she turned me on to Hulu.
There's not much that I
No,
don't have.
Hulu.
I have Hulu as well.
Yeah.
I only got Hulu. I canceled it because I didn't use it much, and then I got it again because of Handmaid's.
Me too. That's the only reason.
That's
Handmaid's
why
Tale.
they know what they're doing. They
Yes.
know that they're going to get us
Oh my God.
by doing that.
Well,
I'm doing it on purpose.
Misty, I signed up because she was telling me we kept seeing Handmaid's Tale, and I hadn't seen it because I wasn't on Hulu. Now I'm watching everything on Hulu. I actually went through a list Sunday.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I did something like that.
So is Hulu the same as Netflix?
like it's like that.
And you can also catch up on your shows that if you missed it, like So You Think You Can Dance, you missed it on Wednesday, you can catch it on Thursday.
So I can go back and watch all those
You
seasons
sure
I never
can.
saw. And now that I'm more secure with myself, I think I can handle it.
Or it'll test your security level.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
actually now I think I can really appreciate it because
Yeah.
now there's such a distance. I mean, that was years and years ago. Now it's just, now I can be entertained.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got about 5 minutes
Yeah.
left. Talk about, what do you think about fashion? What's your point of view on that?
I love fashion.
Why?
Well, because I think it's a form of expression.
Okay.
But I think ultimately, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, because when I'm at home, I'm hanging around in almost nothing and it doesn't really matter. But I love clothing just because it allows me to express myself. And I think it's fun. It's fun to use clothing to have an outward expression. And your personality comes up. I love it. I don't really care about it. Like, I don't follow fashion. I don't know who designers are. I don't buy name brand things. I just go and pick up, from the thrift shops and stuff. Like, I really don't know, but I love clothing.
You're already fashionable anyhow, so.
I love clothing too. It's like a little too much.
Fashionista.
No, thank you.
What's wrong with that?
No, fashion's fun.
No, yes, and I agree with you. It's just that form of expression,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It just makes you, or it makes me feel good when I buy something new, and I can't wait to put it on. And I don't know, the confidence. I guess like what we were talking about with the devices and bringing your skin back 10 years. When we're in their 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, kind of the same thing. You just feel better.
I love watching preschoolers and their fashion because at that age, those kids, they have a clear idea of what they want to wear. Like, I'm going to be a mermaid every day of the week for the next year. And that is their expression.
Yes.
Or I'm going to wear a tutu every day, or I'm going to wear these boots or shoes or a sweater, and kids are amazing that way. And my 10-year-old, when she was younger, we used to always, and this gives away my age a little bit, but it was like, she was like Punky Brewster. I mean, just the mishmash of sparkles and polka dots and stripes and zebra prints and everything was just like a rainbow throw up on her. Just like everything. And she loved it. And I just loved that, loved it.
It's
That's authentic.
Yeah.
You said Punky Brewster. I had Punky Brewster shoes. I thought they were Punky Brewster shoes.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, they were these plastic, like pink and purple and blue plastic shoes. And I could not let you go out of the house, but you would throw a fit.
Yes,
my Punky
exactly.
Brewster shoes.
It's the Punky Brewsters, the Pippi Longstockings,
Yeah.
like those characters just wore whatever, and they were awesome for that because they never cared what anyone else thought, and they were my heroes. Those were the ones that I wanted to be like because I wanted to achieve that state of mind. It's not like I wanted Pippi Longstockings, patched dress. But I mean, I did want those like sponges. I did want those because she used to clean her floor with these sponges on her shoes, so she would like water skate around her kitchen. So that I wanted, but I don't think those even exist. So I'll have to invent them myself. But it's the mindset of her that I wanted, like Little Orphan Annie. She lived in an orphanage, didn't have family, but she was spunky, and she protected her dog from like the street kids who were trying to get the dog, or she stood up to whoever if they were like it's that fearlessness of like standing up for what's right and not caring what others think because you know yourself and you know who you are and what path you're on. Like they're great role models.
Yeah.
And they're the ones, and this is when you think about it, like the greatest leaders in all forms of art, from music to dance, are the ones that do it their own way. And when you learn from that, you're like, oh, as long as I'm a follower, I'm a follower, and I'm just copying someone else.
Yeah.
But to use fashion to have your own voice, to use it all to have your own voice and to express yourself, I think it's very powerful. We have to wear clothes, unfortunately, but we do. So because of that,
make it your own.
Like I'm in the process of designing my own line of clothing. Because
Nice.
I know what I like, I know what I want to wear, and I know what feels good on my body, and I'm like, I don't see it out there, so I'm just going to make it.
Yeah.
So
That's what Pippi Longstocking did.
Yeah.
That's how we rock it.
All right, Zorianna, last time around, Sea Shepherd.
SeaShepherd.org, and click the donate button to donate to all our campaigns. Thank you.
Misty.
Bodygroove.com/Misty or theworldgroovemovement.com.
And where are you going to be coming up? March, April?
March, April, I'm heading out to Costa Rica again. I'm going to be doing a retreat there called Pura Vida Wellness, and then I'll be back here in LA for a couple weeks to do some more filming.
Nice.
All right.
It's VIROAmed.com, and we have a physician's locator button. You can click on it, and wherever you live, you can find your closest doctor.
And your travel schedule, if anybody can catch up to where you may be.
Oh my
Or anything like
gosh.
that?
Well, I'm sorry?
Wherever you may be.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't even
'Cause you're all
know
over
what
the
to
place.
say. I'm all over the place. International and states.
International too. Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm Brian Sebastian. This has been Movie Reviews and More on the Women's Broadcast TV Network. I want to thank everybody for coming because you guys make me laugh. I didn't even say anything breaking my because I was just laughing inside. And again, if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because there's a lot of people out there that need it. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.